We all know that living in California has gotten expensive, but for family farms, it perhaps could be an even bigger problem.
For sure. That is a question that's being answered in this new book. It's called Land Rich, Cash Poor. Joining us now is the author, Brian Reisinger. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks.
Good morning.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so now you mentioned you live in the Sacramento area, but your family farm is in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so growing things there, obviously you've got a certain time of the year where it's best to grow. Here in California, we can kind of grow stuff almost all year long.
Yeah.
But the amount of food that ends up on our tables is thanks to the farmers.
Yeah.
And most of them are family farms.
Yeah, that's right. And people here in Sacramento know that you have wonderful year-round growing seasons practically. And being the farm-to-fork capital of the world, it was a great place for us to be. Our farm, we have those harsh winters, but we also have some of the same beautiful soil you see out there. And that's really the big thing. The reason that we wanted to tell this story is connect our story of survival from the Great Depression to today with the issues that are wiping out farms across the country that affect everybody, right? Because it's the price and health of our food, it's our environment. There are so many issues affected by the fact that we're wiping out our farms in California and across the country.
So what is the biggest issue facing family farms these days?
Yeah, the most immediate issue right now is something that consumers and hardworking families face too, which is rising costs. They're just facing the fact that costs are going up, and that at the same time that those prices for the crops and products they sell are not necessarily keeping pace. So when consumers are facing that crunch, farmers are facing that crunch too for seed, fertilizer, other things. And we're talking about small family farms. The majority of the farms in this country, 88% are small family farms. They're getting wiped out day after day, but in the way that so many small businesses are, and they're facing the same challenges as families.
Yeah.
What about tariffs? We've heard so much about tariffs. What kind of effects are they having on farmers?
Yeah, absolutely. For farmers, the trade issue and the tariff issue is kind of a double-edged sword, because people have been saying for a long time that farmers have been facing trade deals that weren't necessarily fair to them, but also those tariffs do increase costs, and it also makes it harder to sell to foreign markets. We saw China not buying American soybeans. That had a big impact on farms in California and in the Midwest where I'm from. And so it's a challenge. I think farmers want to see fair, free markets, but they also get impacted when those trade disputes spin out of control. So it's one of those things that swings both ways for your family farmer.
So when you were starting to write this book, obviously you're looking at it from the business side of farming. What do people, folks who just go to the grocery store and get their food don't necessarily realize where the food is coming from? What is it that farmers want us to realize as consumers? Why is it so important that we pay attention to what is happening to small family farms?
One of the big things I think is that, farm families in this country are working to get by just like everybody else. When the food price is up, the farmer isn't making more money, because by the time that price gets back to the farmer, there isn't a lot of it left and their costs are going up. So we try to tell an honest story in our book about, survival from the Great Depression today, weather that blesses and threatens, farmland accidents, all those things that happen to farm families that we hope people can connect with in their own struggles to see what it is that farm families are doing to try to put food on their table.
So the title of the book, Land Rich, Cash Poor, I think it kind of lays out the problem. These farmers have assets, but they have to work these assets, and they're not making much money from them, which leads to the next question that inevitably farmers are just going to say, forget it. And they're going to sell, and they're going to cash out their asset. When that happens, who are they selling to? And then what ends up, how is the consumer finally affected if all of a sudden family farms are so I'm assuming to large farms and private equity?
Yeah, that's right.
Like that.
A lot of times it goes to larger farms, and other times it will go toward development or other uses. I mean, it depends. And, it's that cash out moment that makes it, we say land rich, right? It's that moment that the land is worth something, but when you're trying to make a living on it, the cash poor part is that it's getting harder and harder to make that living. So many farm families don't want to sell. They want to hold on and continue to grow food for our country, because they're facing that moment when they might have to tell their family, we can't make it anymore. But if they turn around and sell it, you're not just selling, your dad or mom's job. You're selling your home, your community, your heritage. Farm families want to continue doing what they're doing and trying to feed people in this country.
But if somebody's going to offer you 7 figures or more, and it's like I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn anymore, I think you can see where it's enticing to some farmers.
Yeah, and a lot of people just have no good choices.
Yeah.
They can't continue to make the money growing the crops, so they have to turn around and do that.
Yeah. Changing your heritage, as you mentioned, that's probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because that's, you're 4 generations in. So
That's right.
That's a big deal. So again, the book is Land Rich, Cash Poor. Folks can find it online?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
You can find it online at Amazon, anywhere else you buy books, and also in independent bookstores all across California and the country.
All right.
Brian,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, time now is 8:21. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you,
Brian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate the
Thanks for coming
questions.
in. Yeah.